Big Bad Iga Wild on Tour, dominating. As always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. Taking on Karolina Muchova, who, listen, by now, she just has to be tired of playing Iga Swiatek. I mean, wouldn't you be tired, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, the head-to-head just completely lopsided. But, however, Muchova has played Iga Swiatek tough. I mean, let's go back to the French Open 23, where Muchova had a chance to serve that match out. That match, she had match point. That match was over, ladies and gentlemen. We can even go back to the Elite Trophy 5 years ago, where Muchova defeated Iga Swiatek. She actually had a 2-love lead over Iga Swiatek in the head-to-head, but Iga Swiatek would turn things around, getting her first win over Karolina at the 23 French Open. And then Montreal, which also went 3. I was there. That was a tough match in the 23 season. And since then, look, Iga's just been on a tear, right? Just beating Muchova in straight sets. Now, I do feel that Karolina wasn't in her best form. And we're going to pivot a little bit. We're going to talk about Iga Swiatek because I do feel she played an amazing match. I felt she used Karolina's strengths against her, right? When have you seen Iga, and I think Wim is doing an amazing job with Iga. When have you seen Iga Swiatek beat Muchova at the net? Like, I don't think that has ever happened in any of these matches. But I think that's been Muchova's strong point on how she's been able to hang around and win points against Iga Swiatek. But the reality here is, listen, guys, Iga played solid tennis. Look, she's not going to wow you with aces. We already know that. But again, I felt she did a good job starting the rally with power, finishing at the net when she needed to. Listen, guys, she won 88% of her first serves, 57% of Karolina's first serves, 56% of Karolina's second serve, and dominated her. Karolina did not even have a single breakpoint opportunity. Iga ended the match winning 7 of the last 10 points. And Iga Swiatek had 11 opportunities to break Karolina. She converted on nearly most of them, right? How about 6 of them? But I just felt Iga Swiatek played solid tennis, and she's been under a lot of criticism lately. What about Nick Kyrgios, guys? Nick talking a lot of trash about Iga. We all know he's been vocal on record, just stating that, allegedly that Iga Swiatek, failing that doping test. Nick Kyrgios just feels that it's a way for some of the younger players that are upcoming to find excuses to do wrong and cheat. According to Nick, now we all know, look, Iga Swiatek, it's been ruled that it was cross-contamination. It wasn't her fault. But Nick Kyrgios, he's not for it. He's been saying a lot of things, teasing Iga Swiatek this tournament. Now, let's go back last match against Diana Yastremska, where Iga Swiatek, look, she didn't win the point on the double bounce, but we've seen recently Iga's been winning those points. And a lot of people have been bringing up Iga, especially with Novak on record saying that these courts are horrible, saying that these are slow-playing clay courts. We heard Medvedev talk about it. But we've heard other players, and Iga Swiatek was actually asked about this in one of her interviews this week. Does she feel she has an advantage because these courts play so slow, much like clay courts, as this is the only tournament that Iga Swiatek, in terms of hard, consistently dominates, right? So what do you guys think about that? Very interesting, huh? Very, very interesting. Now, my personal opinion, I do think the courts are playing slow. I do think these courts favor Iga Swiatek. And if a lot of the stars are complaining, then it's probably true, right? The reality is it's probably something that needs to be looked at. I think the courts are playing slow, but with that said, officials here at the Indian Wells, they've essentially changed the courts to essentially duplicate the play at the U.S. Open. So I don't know, right? Because someone like Novak, who's in my opinion, the greatest male tennis player of all time. For him to say that, Carlos Alcaraz says he just adapts and adjusts to whatever is thrown at him, right? Much like Jessica Pegula, who, by the way, was eliminated today. Officials have done everything in their power to make these courts play faster, and they've replicated the U.S. Open court. I don't think so, because Novak, I don't think he would have come out and said that. But according to officials, these courts should be playing like the U.S. Open courts. I don't see it because, I mean, outside of the elements like the wind, the rain, the humidity, the different contrasting styles playing day and night, I don't see the players moving well on these courts. But nonetheless, Iga Swiatek comes through, guys. She's victorious. What about Mirra Andreeva taking on Elena Rybakina? Now, listen, amazing match. We're not going to get that Iga Rybakina showdown again. But by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if we would have got that Iga Rybakina showdown, I think Iga would have dominated again. I don't know if Rybakina's going to be Iga again. She just hasn't looked good. But then again, a lot of players haven't looked good. Iga Swiatek, who will she face? She's going to face the winner of Kim Won-jung and Marta Kashuk, but I want to take a look at Mirra Andreeva, ladies and gentlemen. What she did to Elena Rybakina today. You knew it was going to happen, guys. She's playing solid tennis. And when we're talking about the hottest players on tour, that's right, guys. Jessica Pegula, right in that list, taking us Svitolina earlier. Pegula would lose that match after winning the first set 7-5. I think she just ran out of gas. A little bit tired because, listen, guys, Svitolina brought out the Rockets, defensive powerhouse. She would come back and do very well in that second and third set, winning that match. And Mirra Andreeva, guys, coming into this matchup, the head-to-head was 1-1. We're not going to count the World Tennis League, but Mirra Andreeva did outplay Elena Rybakina there, and she recently beat her in Dubai, like I told you she would, and I told you she'd win this match as well. She now owns the head-to-head, technically 3-1, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, just dominating Elena Rybakina recently. And I think Mirra Andreeva's playing solid tennis. She's a sleeper to win this entire thing. I do get the feeling, like I said, I think it's going to be the winner of this tournament. It's going to be someone that's never won it before. Coco, possibly Mirra. Telling you guys, watch out for Mirra. And this matchup against Elena Rybakina, just solid tennis. I mean, from the start, she dominated Elena Rybakina. And Rybakina, 0 aces. If she has a match with an elite player like this and she doesn't put up an ace, she's not going to win. It's just not going to happen. As Mirra won 80% of her first serves, 69% of Elena Rybakina's second serves, 48% of her first serves, 12 opportunities to break her. I just felt she did a good job with the long balls. She got Elena Rybakina moving forward, the left passing shots. It was like throwing a pebble in the ocean. Everything Mirra put up was a winner. Elena Rybakina just frustrated this entire match. And listen, guys, I think Elena Rybakina, I don't know if she's going to win a title this year, to be honest with you. I think the whole Stefano situation, it's weighing on her. I just hope she comes back strong and at least plays well in Miami. As Mirra Andreeva, she advances, guys. Is she going to win this? Is she a sleeper for you guys? What do you guys think? Comment below. I'm interested to hear how you feel about Mirra, because I think she is going to be a sleeper. I think she's going to take on Svitolina next. Russia, Ukraine. That's going to be a good match because Svitolina is not going to lay down. And the reality here is, I think Svitolina should win that match. She should win the match, but nonetheless, Mirra's playing so solid right now. Could go either way. Polini, guys, she's going to take on Ludmila. I think Polini gets past her. However, the last time they faced each other, that was and look, Polini's never beat Ludmila. I've seen Ludmila overpower Polini from the baseline on a lot of occasions. And if, in fact, a younger Jasmine taking on Ludmila, I was concerned about Jasmine's forehand. And I felt it needed a lot of work. She went in the gym. She put in the work. But the last time they played at the Australian Open, that was bad. I covered the match. It was really bad. Jasmine could do nothing with Ludmilla. So stay tuned. I'm going to cover that match. I do think Jasmine might get over the hump this time and beat Ludmilla. She's playing a lot better tennis. But I want to take a look as Mirra Andreeva advances. I want to take a look at Coco, guys. Coco, she's going to be taking on Belinda Bencic. Now, I've already given a prediction in this matchup, but I just want to revisit this matchup again as Coco owns a head-to-head. Remember, the first time they played, Coco was only, I want to say, 16, right, at the Adelaide International. It went 3 sets. The first set went to a tiebreak. The second set went to a tiebreak. And I just felt Coco being younger, just winning her first main tour title against Elena Ostapenko, a couple months prior, maybe a month prior, maybe. Adjusting to the main tour, not really having the stamina of the older adult women, right? Remember, she's 7 years older than Coco. She's like 27, right? Then they'd play in DC, the 23 season, where Coco was in great form. Belinda was in great form. Coco dominated that matchup in DC, 6-1, 6-2. And then they recently played this year at the Australian Open, where Coco won that match in 3 sets. Now, Coco last time out, she looked good. I think she responded, even though 9 double faults, winning barely 70% of her first serve, she did respond how a champion needed to, right? A lot of criticism. When Coco loses, she gets the most hate and criticism. We know that. Why? Because she's so big. She's so popular. She's such a star. People expect her to do what Serena does, right? Because she's the next best thing for American tennis. But Belinda on the other side of the net, Tatiana Maria, Amanda Anisimova, Dana Snyder, she's playing good tennis. She's only dropped 1 set. That was to Amanda. Now, I do think this matchup here, Coco, if she does what she does, moves, use her athletic ability, gets Belinda, just gets balls back, get Belinda moving around. Belinda's going to trip up and make mistakes. We all know the knock with Belinda. She's got a lot of power, heavy ground strokes, low trajectory on her balls, but her footwork's not good. If Coco moves, she's not stationary, she doesn't get into a firefight with Belinda, she should be able to make Belinda make mistakes. So I like Coco Gauff to win this match and advance. And as things get down to the nitty-gritty here, and we kind of round out the quarterfinals here, we're going to have possibly a Sabalenka-Coco matchup that we could see. But it's not going to be that easy, guys, because Coco Gauff, she's got to get past Belinda, but then she's got to get past the winner of Dana Vekic and Madison Keys. I think that's going to be the real test for Coco in this tournament, because you have a player like Madison Keys that has the power to disrupt what Coco wants to do, right? You have someone like Dana Vekic, who even though Coco beat her last time out, she beat her at the Olympics, has a lot of power. I don't think Coco would have a problem with Vekic this time around. I could see Keys just, being a wrinkle and possibly forcing out a 3-set thriller. But nonetheless, guys, like I say, when Coco enters a tournament, she's always my pick to win it. An American hasn't won this tournament since 2001. I think this might be the year Coco does it. Comment below, guys. What do you think about Mirra? Does Mirra have a chance to win it? Does Iga have a chance to defend? Let me know. We'll be back.